When the pain grows, anything goes. Devil is a lie, looking for the prize. That's eternal life, and bringing the things in my mind. I'm talking real peace of mind. That's something money can't buy.
What's up, YouTube fam? It's your boy KingMarcell, and we are back with another video. Today I want to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and it's very serious. It's something that I've been touching on here and there throughout my videos, and if you guys haven't checked out my 200 plus videos, I got a whole catalog for y'all, so go and check out my old past videos. But a topic that keeps coming up is the fact that I don't consider myself to be a so-called black man. I feel like it's a misnomer. It's not even a feel. It's literally by law. Being called a black man literally means nothing in the state of in law. When you look it up in Black's Law's dictionary, it gives you a very vague definition, and it's that vague so that I feel like they can do what they want to us under this name. I believe that everybody who is a so-called African American is a so-called Native American who was an aboriginal of the United States, and they don't want us knowing that so that we don't feel like we have any ties to the land. And it's a lot of proof that goes into this when you really break down what happened in slavery, and when people like Kanye say that slavery was a choice and stuff like that. When you guys really start to understand what was going on during those times, it gets pretty fuzzy because we've been manipulated on the history. So we are about to check out this docu-series by this channel called Truth Unedited. This brother does a lot of good work on trying to break down the past. I know a lot of us don't like to talk about history, don't like to be bothered with history, get bored with history, go to sleep. But in this day and age, knowledge is power. Knowledge has always been power, but for some reason we've lacked it a lot, and it's because of that manipulation. You know what I'm saying? What's the saying? Put anything in a book. If you want to have anything from a black man, put it in a book. It's because of the brainwashing that has been put on us to not read. We used to get beat for reading. They wanted us illiterate because they didn't want us to come back to this true knowledge of what's going on. So we're about to get into this video. Make sure you guys like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys are subbing up and joining the kingdom. But without further ado, let's get into this docuseries.
Introduction. Over the past few months, my spirit has been overly vexed by something I have said and felt all my life. It's a thought that is prevalent within the whole worldwide population for the most part. A classification that I have been born into without choice, and something I have accepted, again, all my life. The thing is that for me personally, I know the truth. I have done years of study to understand the answer to the question that I've wondered all my life. I know the answer. Yeah. But yet my programming still has me classify myself in this false way. Yeah. It was just easier. This is what everyone knows, so it's what I should fall into.
Yep.
But over the past few months, the more I heard this classification, I would become frustrated and vexed. Yeah. And from that frustration, I would start seeing it everywhere. People were starting to take pride in this classification and started recognizing how different we were than everyone else, and why we all share these same qualities. I mean, I love the skits by certain people that say how we all react to things in the same way. I mean, it's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
But again, I know the truth. And the thing is that knowing the truth irritates you when you hear the lie.
Yeah.
But I dealt with it because everyone else obviously doesn't know.
Because then people like try to make it seem like because I'm saying that I'm not a black man, they say, oh, you don't have any black pride. You're not proud to be a black man. Where's your black spirit? You feel me? Where's that? Don't get me wrong. I love my people. I love, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like he said, he even goes back into calling himself a classification. Because again, it's not that I'm saying I don't love my people. I love my people. But my people have to understand is that we are being called a crayon, and that we always wasn't being called a crayon. That's what I really want to get people, not even just my people, but the world to understand that my people aren't just a crayon in the crayon box. We aren't just what they label us as a black person. We are Native Americans. And if you go back and do the history on who they even are, we are the true children of Israel. But we are steady being lied to about who we are because it's a people on this earth who is saying that they are us. And they took away our names and using them and then gave us a surname. What you call it? Just something that's not our real name. They just give us different names after every few years, every time we started to get closer to who we are. We went from Negroes to black, from Negroes to colored to black to African American. And then now they talking about they probably finna start classifying us as something else. And it's like, are we about to keep landing them? Man, let's just get back into this.
But now with this current election, it seems that this classification is highlighted more than ever. Kamala Harris is being attached to it, and Donald Trump is attacking her for using the classification.
I believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman.
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage.
Exactly.
She was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman.
She didn't.
Black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir.
And he's not wrong or lying. It's just that he should not be the one that is highlighting it.
Facts. We should.
His attention to it brings people further into the trap, which I actually think is the overall point, to be honest. Either way, two people that have nothing to do with my heritage are discussing it or using it. It's giving me flashbacks to 2008 when Obama, another man who has nothing to do with our heritage, was also using it to elevate himself. So at this point for me, it is becoming too much for me to bear and deal with. It is a result of decades of mind control that the world has been programmed to accept. And I do know and see that the ending result of all this is to just create a classification that merges all people into one. I'll explain later.
Yeah.
This is something I personally can no longer tolerate. When you understand the truth and understand why this classification has been made, you also understand that something must be said and done about it. A message must be given to all that will hear. And that message needs to be pretty much a major splash of water in their face, or maybe a strong slap across the face
the
that
truth.
Forces everyone that hears it to wake up and leave the indoctrination. We must not stay in the social confines that this system has placed us in. We must wake up out of it. Now, I don't have some false expectation that I can stop this classification, because like I said myself, I still use it. It's hard for me to stop saying it or using it. But even though I might use it, the mental attitude that surrounds it, it's quite different for me. And it's this mental alertness that I desire to bring all that will listen to.
We have to bring awareness to it.
Understanding to all is that we are not black people.
And it's as simple as that. We are not a crayon in the crayon box, man. We are a people. We have a heritage. We have a history, a great and rich history that we don't truly know, that they are trying to get us to attach to another land so that we don't claim this one. This brother does an excellent job of breaking this down. So I hope you guys are just having an ear for it. You know what I'm saying? Just, that's all I'm asking, is just have an ear to listen and truly hear this man out. Let's see where it goes.
You may right now think this may be a silly topic or just something you might want to gloss over. But I assure you that this is only because of indoctrination and mind control.
Yeah.
Let me explain that this classification about being black people is not the actual problem. The problem is why this classification exists in the first place. There is a strong mental program that has been used against everyone in the world to make you look at a certain segment of the world population in a very specific way that right now most people are not able to see why. There is a major agenda behind this, and it is highly important for all people to come to the truth and realization of this. But nobody more important than those that are being identified through this classification. I have been making videos for a long time about the truth of this world and the truth about religion. I do believe that very soon we are about to enter into an event that changes the world. I feel that right now, the people of this world are being locked into their segments that will determine where they are placed in regards to the agenda. I have been led to turn my focus to awaken the dry bones at what seems like the last effort for those who are being called before the world turns. You may not know what the dry bones means right now, but if you watch this series, it will be made more clear to you. This is a comprehensive video series made to breathe life into the dry bones. This is a series that I encourage all to watch with their family from the beginning and start the discussion. I will be breaking this down from the beginning and will break this series up by subject. By the end of this series, you will know clearly that the people that the world calls black people are not that. It is an improper classification that has been used to fool and lie to the world in order to steal everyone's soul and lead people into an agenda that those who have been controlling this world for hundreds of years have been steering the masses to accept. I want you to know that we are not black people. And if you finish this series, you will understand who it is we truly are.
Yep.
Let's begin. Okay, so this is the only time in this series that you will hear me say, let's begin. This video is a mere introduction to a very large topic, and we are right now beginning to break it down. If you have watched my videos before, you should know why I say that we are not black people, because I have made many videos that explain this point. But in this last-ditch effort, I'm going to be thorough, and so I will be grabbing from many of my older videos while adding in a lot of new information and understandings. I want this to be treated as a docu-series that family and friends can go video by video through and begin to at least discuss.
All praises to the Most High for this, brother, for real.
I'm trying to get the conversation started. Those of you that watch, you can help me with this. Now also, please know the release schedule of these are not according to my regular schedule, though there will always be new releases by Friday. But as I am able, I will be releasing the videos because all of this needs to be put out and done. So please check your notifications on YouTube to see if you get notifications, or just come back regularly to check the playlist. This is a very important subject and it needs to be addressed properly. If you feel I left you hanging at the end of a video, please know I should have another video coming out shortly after. So let's get to it. First off, what exactly is the problem with being called black people? Let me see.
It's a very big problem.
It's because I am not black. Most people I know that are called black people are not black.
Thanks.
Me, personally.
Look at me right now. I'm brown as hell. I am a brown man. What are we talking about? But I'm black. Like, y'all, we gotta, and I know we hear this and we think like it was ridiculous, but we don't find it more ridiculous that we've been calling ourselves black people. Like that's not ridiculous to us. We wasn't even always called that. These motherfuckers used to just call us colored. Motherfucker, at least say my color, call me brown. God damn. We are brown. But they want us to play this colorism game. And that's the game we should not be playing. Because in this colorism game, it breeds white supremacy. And we fall for the trap at every turn when we deal in color, when we say that we black and they white. We not black and they not white. And the people in the middle, notice they call themselves their ancestors' names. Why don't we? That's a question that we got to ask ourselves for real.
I am a perfect shade of brown.
Facts.
All the people that are in this classification that are not
brown.
intermingled are not black, but different shades of brown.
Yes, sir.
Or more accurately, different shades of wheat. That is all
Or
people
corn.
From lighter tone to darker tone, different shades of wheat. My sons all have different skin tones, but both myself and their mother are a perfect brown complexion. We are not light-skinned, and what we are is not black either. Now here's the thing. There are blacker, darker-skinned people, and they have beautiful skin.
Right.
Like this brother right here. But in truth, many people in that complexion, at least from the ones in America, I do not share heritage with.
Exactly.
They are not my kin. So there is no reason to group me into a classification with them. Now, I have nothing against them, obviously. It's just that we are not kin. For instance, the real situation that got me going is this Kamala Harris, after she was put into the presidential race. All of a sudden, people from my ethnic group, my tribe of people,
right,
all of a sudden started classifying her
as one of us.
That is tied to our
like,
heritage.
What the fuck?
Even though the facts say something completely different.
Even though she was locking niggas up at an alarming rate back when she was the attorney general. What was she, the attorney general? The fuck, like what? Now she's black. Get the fuck. It's like, bro, and we not understanding how they're just throwing around the term black. This is the perfect example on how it means nothing. Just calling yourself black. That they feel like it's interchangeable. She said she was Indian her whole career. That was what she built her career off of. The first Indian woman to do all of these things. Now that she's running for president, is she a black woman? Come on, man.
Now, if Vice President Harris becomes the nominee of her party, she'll be the first black woman and person of South Asian descent to lead a ticket. CBS News Miami's Tanya Francois went into the community speaking to black women about what it means.
It's the opportunity to make history as a black woman voter to vote another black woman
just be donuts,
into the highest
bro.
office in the United States of America.
She's so sophisticated. Got that damn blonde in her head. It's like, oh my God.
But because she is not what we call a white person, it's easy to just classify her as black.
Like what?
Well, I should say easily done for those who don't mind living in pure ignorance.
Hey,
but she is not black. Or what I'm trying to say, she shares no heritage with a group of people labeled as black people in the United States.
Her family had slaves.
That they are now wiping out our heritage altogether
and
now placing everyone under a label of people of color. Everyone now is a person of color.
What do you think having the first woman of color elected to national office means to black mothers and black nieces and black people everywhere?
Well, you know, Shep, there's a lot of focus on the word first, but you have to think of what the first means. First woman, first black person, first South Asian American person to be elected vice president of the United States.
Nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack, except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body.
The four congresswomen of color known as the Squad feel undermined by what they perceived as microaggression or subtle discrimination. While it's happening on the big stage where they can fight back with some support, many women of color in America face similar problems in workplaces where they could lose their jobs for speaking up.
All eyes have been on the presidential race, so you might have missed an important milestone that Congress just reached.
Next year's Congress will feature the most women of color ever. Some are historic firsts, and others are familiar faces on the Hill.
I'm Teresa Leche Fernandez.
I'm sorry. Because y'all don't understand. For those who not getting it, they're classifying, again, only so-called black people who went through slavery was known as colored people. Now woman of color has transpired to every other woman that's not a white woman. So whether you Chinese, you Vietnamese, you any other woman, now you a woman of color too. It's like they leeching off of our trauma, off of our pain to be able to work their agendas. While at the same time not truly doing shit for us. And it's the fact that we keep going for this shit. How long are we gonna stay in this bullshit ass ignorance? Because my thing is that we start calling ourselves who we truly are, they won't be able to do that shit no more. Nobody will ever be getting away with pretending to be us anymore. That's why a lot of bullshit will stop on this earth if we able to claim who we are. But that's because that is coming back to the forefront of our understanding. That's why all of this chaos is going on. So that somebody like me saying this shit with a crown on his head look like a nut in front of y'all. Even though I'm coming to y'all with nothing but facts and straight truth. This brother ain't said nothing wrong yet. But they gonna play us like against each other so that the same shit can keep going.
My name is Marilyn Strickland.
My name is Nadia Velasquez.
And I am representing the 10th Congressional District of Washington State.
I represent the 7th Congressional District.
I am the Congresswoman-elect in CD3 of New Mexico.
I was elected in November 2020.
I was first elected to Congress back in 1990.
Is this not a white woman?
I was elected on November 3rd, 2020.
At least 51 women of color will serve in the 2021 Congress, more than ever before. The previous record of 48 is held by the current Congress.
That is an incredible achievement.
It is exciting, and it shows that more women of color, African American women, and women from all backgrounds are feeling comfortable running for office.
Since she came on the scene, everyone is now calling themselves this.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a person of color. Which, if you can't see it yet, they're using this to erase this classification of black people altogether.
Thank you.
But again, most people just can't see this.
Just acting oblivious to it.
And who we are slowly but surely. You see, this is all able to be accomplished because we are being labeled by our skin color and not our actual heritage.
Our heritage.
Even with like President Obama, he was labeled as the first black president. But Obama also does not share our heritage. Now, the person that they call his wife does, but not Obama. These people are not our kin. But because we're so indoctrinated, we are very easily fooled and manipulated. And for me personally, my tolerance of this is at its peak. I can't take any more of it. You cannot classify people by the color of their skin. It's ignorance.
Pure,
so
in its
that
purest
leads me to the
form.
next point. Because I know someone is probably
because my thing is if we call a Chinese person a Japanese person, they would get mad. If you call a Korean a Japanese person or a Chinese person, they're gonna get mad because they got different heritage. If you call an Italian the same as an Irishman, they're gonna get mad. But for some reason in the United States, oh no, they all white people. And then all of us, all the rest of us is a person of color. It's that melting pot bullshit that they getting y'all caught up in America. This is a falsehood. This shit ain't real. Everybody has a different heritage. My people have a different heritage from the people over there in Africa, but they got my people thinking they from Africa. It's nonsense. When you do the research on where slavery really started, that it started in the Americas and that they was getting took over there. When you properly understand what was going on, you realize like, how did we let them brainwash us to this extent? And then we don't want to think that something like MK Ultra is a real thing. We don't want to think we being manipulated and that it's government entities that's doing it. It's like we gotta wake the fuck up at some point. And a lot of people are, but it's like, man, a lot of people are getting caught up on the same shit. And it's just stuff, it's just stumbling blocks for us to not come together.
They probably commented in the comment section before they even got to this part. The hypocrisy people probably want to mention is, why is it wrong to say black people, but I can call other people white people? Well, listen, if you're asking me that, I mean, you're not wrong. That's a very fair point. But it also highlights the actual problem. Let me show you. Let's examine the classification of white people.
Yeah.
White people being the only other main group in this world that are really classified by the skin. What I mean by that is that we don't call Asian people yellow people.
Thank you.
They don't call themselves, yeah, I'm a yellow person.
There's only black people and white people that do that.
White people. And in my ethnic group, we definitely classify them by their skin color. But here comes the main difference. Though they use the classification, they still know who they are. I have never met a person who identifies as a white person who doesn't know where their family descends from. I have heard countless stories about people's ancestors who came from somewhere in Europe with a few cents in their pocket and came to America, and later their family became wealthy. This is a very common story within this group that we call white people in America.
Yep.
Now, on the contrary, for the people in the black classification group, if someone wants to just try to classify us outside of our skin color, they just call us Africans. Africa, this vast, major continent of the world that is home to many different tribes of people,
countries,
we simply are summed up as Africans.
Yep.
But there are no other people in the world that receive this type of general classification that they can't go any deeper with than a continent.
Not even the people that's living in Africa.
We could just call the Americans who are labeled as white people, we could just generally call them Europeans. I mean, we could, but in their own family, they know they have history. They can tell you that their family descends from here or there. They may be Irish, Scottish, French, Italian, Dutch, or even Jewish. There is a big difference between all these different types of people. And if you're just to classify all of them just as Europeans and say they are the same thing,
they will be pissed.
These people would be offended. I mean, imagine telling a Jewish person that they are the same as an Italian or Irish just because they all came from the same continent. Or let's look at other people, like this group of people. We don't call them yellow people. We call them Asians.
Yep.
But classifying Asians as all the same because they're all on what we call the continent of Asia, this is pure ignorance. The people that classify into the group known as Asians know where they descend from. They know their heritage. A Chinese person is very much different than an actual Indian.
Thank you.
Koreans and Japanese take offense if you say they are the same thing.
Thank you.
Can you understand how ignorant that is to just say that they are all the same because they all come from one continent?
That's racist.
Okay. But for some reason,
but we do it with ourselves.
The group of people known as black people, even in this modern age of information,
we let others
with
do
these
it.
type of subjects, they shouldn't even be in the dark any longer. This is the age of information. If we are to be classified aside from our skin color and not be black people, all we get is African. Now, people in the Caribbean, maybe you feel that you're not tied to that because you're identified by your island. But listen, that's not what you are.
You're not an island,
or Bahamian,
literally.
or Cuban. That's not who you are. That's the island you were dropped off to. Who are you before they took your family to that island? I guarantee there is no answer for this for the majority, except knowing that you're African. You see, we are classified by a skin color or just a general classification of a continent, and we have been so indoctrinated, we have just grown to accept this, and to the other peoples of the world, it doesn't matter much to them at all.
Because it's not
so
their
they're comfortable
people.
With that classification, because history has told us that the history of Africa does not matter, so it's okay to just say African. Because for the people that control our history, it is only Europe and Asia that matters in our history. Because if you ask an actual African, someone in Tanzania or Cameroon or Nigeria, many of them know their tribes that they descend from. And many of them know they don't share anything with us genetically or historically. In fact, the common rebuttal many people like to use to justify slavery is that it was our own people that sold us into slavery.
Right, and that wasn't the case.
Why do they say that? Because to the world, Africans mean African. There is no difference. They are all black, and therefore they are all the same. But in no other continent of people is this so.
Thank you.
Again, Japanese are different than Chinese. Italians are different than Greeks or Dutch or Spanish. But when it comes to Africa, we are all supposed to be the same thing. That's ignorance. Can you see the hypocrisy in this? Can you see how ignorant that actually is?
Panera's mac and cheese.
It's literally the most ignorant shit in the world. Hold on, I'm trying to save y'all from these damn ads. But it's when y'all realize just how ignorant that shit is, it's infuriating. And it's to the point where it's genuinely being hidden from my people. It's genuinely like they want us to be called this. And that if we do call ourselves what we truly are, then that's a problem for them. And that they'll be willing to go to war about that shit. That shit is wild. It's sick as hell. But I know a lot of people don't know this. I know there's a lot of people that do know this and would like for this shit to continue on like this. But there's a lot of y'all who don't know this. It's a lot of you different people from different races that don't know this history and don't know that this is what is being done to my people and how it's contributing to a lot of the conflicts that's going on in the world. But if we all just start opening our eyes to what's going on and rectifying a lot of these situations, then we can really have some type of peace around this month. But it's only if we work together to do that. But yeah, it's people who want us at each other's throat. We want to keep being classified these things because then it's an excuse to keep going on with your materialistic ways. Man, we got to come up out these things.
Rebuttal many people like to use to justify slavery is that it was our own people that sold us into slavery. But in no other continent of people is this so. Again, Japanese are different than Chinese. Italians are different than Greeks or Dutch or Spanish. But when it comes to Africa, we are all supposed to be the same thing. That's ignorance. Can you see the hypocrisy in this? Can you see how ignorant that actually is? There is an African section in Harlem near 116th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard. Ever since I was a kid, I would go there for certain things you could only get from them. You see, I never attached to them. I never personally felt that I shared anything with them culturally. And it was more than just the African culture because I lived in America. I mean, when I go to different parts of the Caribbean, even though they're different islands, I share many of the same qualities with them. Our humor, our rhythm, our tolerance or lack of tolerance to different things, our genetic features. But with other Africans, I didn't feel the same thing. When I was young, I thought it was because I was just colonized. But after study and research, I know it's because they are not my people.
We are not the same people.
That doesn't mean I'm against them. It just means we're not related. In relation to my heritage,
now it is some people that live in Africa who were taken from North Africa, who were brought here. But if you guys understand the history and you go back to the inception or the beginning of slavery, you find out that those people who were in North Africa had got taken from South Africa damn near 200 years before the 1800s, before they started going over there and bringing them niggas over here. Slavery was already going on in the 1600s. And it was going on in South America to England, into Spain, into North Africa. And that they start bringing a lot of those niggas back to the States. For some odd reason, because slavery, well, it ain't for some odd reasons, because slavery started getting ruled illegal on that side of the world. So they had to bring them niggas back over here. Yeah, like y'all gotta learn this history. Check out my TikToks, the Unum Sanctum videos, the KingMarcell TikTok.
Part of my culture as a European would be. We all do not descend from the same people. They are not my kin. We do not share the same heritage. But because we have been mind controlled to look at our skin color, or then just a continent, we are not able to understand that we are all being played and why this is so. You have to understand that this is intentional. Go back in time to when slavery started and they were taking people from the land. What they want us to think is that they were just grabbing up people at random. But that's not the case.
No.
The tribes that sold our people into slavery knew exactly who it was that they were taking. And this is why, if I would take a classification right now, outside of who we truly are, I would gladly take being a Negro. I bet that might sound crazy to you, right? It shouldn't. It's not the same as the other N-word that they got us all to call ourselves. We were classified by this word Negro for a long time, until they assimilated us after their civil rights agenda.
I'm a children of Israel.
Then they replaced Negro with African
I'm an
American.
Israelite.
And though they still use it, the classification of black people seems to
I'm finna not call myself. Because we got to understand, why did we start calling ourselves Negro? Before we was Negro, we was Moors. Moor just mean black. That was what we call ourselves black now. That was just the first version of us calling ourselves black. But the only reason we started calling ourselves Moors was because we couldn't call ourselves Israelites no more when you find out the history. Well, I'm going to call myself an Israelite and whatever consequences going to end up coming with that, then I guess it's going to have to be what it is, because that's who I am. They want me to call myself these misnomers, something that's not me. That's not me. I'm not black. I'm not a Negro. Well, I am. I guess you can say that I am these things because these are names that my people were forced to take on because we couldn't call ourselves Israelites, but we are Israelites. And I pray that, you know what I'm saying, later on in this series, this brother goes deeper into that.
Called black people today. But like I said, I would rather be called Negro, which, if we're being technical, it means the same thing, just using the original language of the people who first took my people as slaves in the first place. The main reason I at least prefer the word is because for anyone wanting to search more into who we are, this term can be used as a great starting point for understanding. Now, I don't want to move too fast, and I promise I will explain this further in depth when we get to it. But if you look at the old slave maps, they are very telling.
Yeah.
Do you see this area right here? Yeah, it's called Negro Land. I have a few different versions of this map from different years. I have them hanging up in my home, all for a constant reminder that they knew who they were taking when they were gathering my people as slaves. It was not random. They had a map of boundaries, and they were collecting people from Negro Land. Now, if you know history, this area actually is not Negro Land, but it was a specific group of people. And like I said, I will get to that later in the series.
Okay.
My point is that they knew who they were taking. So listen, if the slavers knew who they were taking, why don't we know?
Right.
And why was it so important for them to wipe out our history and knowledge of ourselves? You know, people who love to play devil's advocate and say that we should get over slavery or other people were slaves too. Many people love saying that Irish were slaves too. So it's not just something specific to your people. Those that love saying things like this love to forget the fact that it was not just slavery and forced labor, but it was also a conscious effort to remove our heritage from us over the generations.
No one told y'all not to be Irish.
The children from the parents and force them to learn a new language, to change their names, to remove their culture. We all know the famous scene from Roots with Kunta Kinte forced to accept his new name, Toby.
I want to hear you say your name. Your name is Toby. What's your name?
Kunta.
Say it! Toby! Who are you? Say your name. What's your name?
Toby.
Hi. Say it again. Say it louder so they all can hear you. What's your name?
Toby.
The question you need to ask yourself is, why? Why was it so important not only for them to use us for forced labor,
but to change our names,
for them to strip us from our identity and our heritage? I promise you, there are reasons for this, and if you follow me through this series, these questions will be answered. The point I'm making is that we are not black people.
We are not.
We are not just merely Africans.
No.
We have a specific history and our specific tribe of people.
Yes.
We have been mentally conditioned and programmed to believe that we have no history and we have no purpose. We have no religion either. We have nothing and we are nothing. That's what they want us to believe, that we are property that has been given freedom, and if we want a future, we must participate in the system those who enslaved our ancestors and oppressed our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, etc. If we want a future, we must serve and participate in that system and be grateful that we are granted that opportunity to do so. That's what we're told and conditioned to accept. And for me, this person that you're listening to right now, I reject all that garbage. And I know that's a bunch of garbage and lie from the pit of hell. And as long as I subject myself to that thinking and mindset, I will always be a slave with no power, just with invisible chains instead of the physical yokes of iron my ancestors once had. If you follow that lie, you will always be a slave, and you are getting to the point of no return with it too. My goal is to teach you who you are and how you got here. And listen, if you do not descend from this heritage and you're watching, my goal is to teach you why you should care as well and why it should matter to you too. This is a message all must understand. There is only power in the truth, and it is the truth that sets you free. The scriptures say, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That's found in John chapter 8, verse 32. You know, many people say this, but they do not know how true this actually is.
Exactly. For all of us.
That you are going to have to deal with is that your enemy has kept the truth from you in order to oppress you and take away your power.
Simple as that.
For a metaphor, let's use the story of Samson. When thinking about Samson, do you know how the source of Samson's power was his hair, his locks?
Yeah.
Once the Philistines knew what the source of his power was, they cut his hair, and then he was able to be overpowered. In the end, the Philistines lost against Samson because they eventually let his hair grow back. Our plight is very much similar, but our power comes through our heritage and living in its full truth. But get this, the enemy knows this, and using our heritage in the same metaphor as Samson's hair, they cut off our heritage, but learned from the mistake of letting our hair grow back. They never allowed us to collectively come back into the knowledge of who we are, and therefore, we have been easy pickings, able to be controlled and conquered, and this is our plight. What I desire to do is help you regrow your hair. You are the dry bones, and it's time that you are awakened. And this series is going to do just that, and it's going to be thorough. So now that you understand the point
like
of
he's
the
gonna go
series,
pretty in
please
depth.
continue on to the next part and allow me to explain to you more about how we got here. I hope this got you thinking. Right now, many of you are the dry bones. And as Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 11 says, you may believe your hope is lost and you yourselves are cut off. But I am here to show you the complete opposite is true. Your hope is not lost and you are not cut off if you just awaken and be who you truly are.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Click the link to the next video and we'll talk some more.
You guys, that was an amazing video. That is something that I feel like not only that all of my people need to know, but that the world needs to know. It's a lot of misconceptions going on, a lot of brainwashing going on both sides. And until the truth comes out and understanding, we gonna stay at each other's throats. We gonna stay in these everlasting wars. No one's ever gonna get along. And y'all see what's going on. I just seen them coming out, Elon Musk coming out with a fleet of robots that looking like they're the robots from I Am Legend. they acting like they don't need no one else no more, let alone my people. They talking about everybody. I just hope that, you know what I'm saying, with this docuseries, you know what I'm saying, I can help play a part in helping growing people's understanding when it comes to who we are and who the Most High is and why all of these things are going on. So if you guys like this video, make sure you guys like this video, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We on the road to 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys are summing up and let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. You know what I'm saying? I really want to see what you guys feedback is and how you guys feel about this specific topic. But that's gonna be it for this video. Again, this has been KingMarcell. Peace.
When the pain grows, anything goes. Devil is a lie, looking for the prize. That's eternal life, and bringing the things in my mind. Talking real peace of mind, that's something money can't buy.